Do you have the idea that in order to make big changes in your health and fitness, you've got to do all this big stuff right away, especially as you start the new year? Well, I have a guest, and we're going to talk about ways that you can get healthy and fit that don't involve all of these huge changes all at once. She's going to break down how to get well, how to get fit, how to look good, how to feel good, and how to do it in a way that is fun, easy, and manageable. So stay tuned. To the secret formula of femininity for women who want to live a more feminine, fun, and fabulous life. I'm Dr. Nicole Montero, your host on this weekly journey to unlocking your inner radiance, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself. Okay, Tynika, I'm going to introduce my audience to you, but I want to first have you just touch on a little bit because you told me a misconception or a wrong idea that people have about fitness is that it's got to be this huge overhaul. And that's why everyone's like, I'll do it on Monday, I'll start on Monday. And it's always next Monday.
Yeah, it's always next Monday, and next Monday turns into January 1st, and then the next January 1st, right?
Yes, yes.
But I think that a lot of us don't take action because we think that there has to be this grand gesture, these grand changes in order to get the results that we really want. And that's not true. The biggest changes and the biggest impact happens when we make the smallest changes, but
Mm.
on a consistent basis.
Wow, those are gems right there. Okay. I just wanted you all to hear a little bit. So let me formally introduce my guest today on the secret formula of femininity. Tynika Pack is the founder and CEO of Impact Fitness and a certified fitness and wellness leader with over a decade of industry experience. From her beginning as a competitive bodybuilder, this is what like really attracted me to want to have you on my podcast, to becoming an acclaimed wellness speaker. Tynika has dedicated her career to transforming lives through health and empowerment. Her expertise in personal training has sculpted healthier bodies. Ooh, like you said, you're in Maryland, right? I need you to come up
Yeah.
to Pennsylvania and sculpt me. And fostered resilient minds, making her a sought after speaker for events and conferences. She was recently featured in Women's Health magazine, the Baltimore Times, and Good Day Baltimore on Fox 45. Tynika continues to expand her influence, promoting holistic health and wellness as foundational elements for successful living. I love it. Her commitment to enhancing community well being, combined with her business acumen, positions her as a pivotal figure in both fitness and entrepreneurial settings. Tynika's dynamic approach not only inspires but empowers her audiences to lead healthier, more fulfilling lives. Welcome, Tynika. And as I just reread your bio, it's like this is exactly what the secret formula of femininity is about. It's about tapping into your feminine essence, living your most fulfilling, your best life, and the tools to do it. We don't want to just talk about it. We want women to know how to do it. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to just start like your bio is amazing. I want to start with Tynika's story. Like, how did you get here? How did you become this bodybuilder, this health and wellness guru, inspiring women? Like, tell us a little bit about how and where it started.
Yes, 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 yes. So back in 2013, me and my mom were trying to find some kind of activity for us to do together for bonding time. We
Mhm.
decided to start going to the gym. Now,
Okay.
that was great, but then it just ended up me being the one going to the gym, which is fine. So, but through that part of my journey, I met this group of women who all worked out together, and they invited me to come work out with them. So I'm like, okay, a nice support system. You always have to have community.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working out with them, but I did not know that each and every one of them competed in bodybuilding competitions. And I'm just like,
Mm.
I am just here for the support. You guys go. Like, I'm just here to work out. Like, that's it.
Mhm.
That's all. Um, but I went to one of their shows and there was this girl on stage. Her name is Katrina Roundtree, which is she's my friend today.
Mhm.
I saw her on stage and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at her body. Like, I want to look just like that. And then
Wow.
I turned to our coach at the time. I'm like, I want to look like that. So that was towards the end of 2014. So that's when I actually started my prep for my first show.
Mhm.
Uh, Started that, did my first show
How
August
long
of
was the prep? Like, just like, was
Ooh,
this
yeah.
huge long thing you had to do, or?
Yes, so when I first started, I was a toothpick, like, I was super skinny, so that's why people call me Tiny. Tiny is
Okay.
my nickname, okay?
Uh-huh.
So, in order for me to even compete, like, I had to build and, like, put on, like, some lean muscles. So, from November 2014, like, roughly November 2014 through the end of April 2015 was my bulk phase. So, that's where I actually had to put on some weight. Now, we're gonna come back to that. It did not make me look bulky at all.
Okay, because I know a lot of women might feel like I don't want to be bulky.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother misconception. So we can come back to that. But in order for me to have muscles and flex on stage, like I had to build that. So from November to April is where I built it. And then from April to August is when I started to cut to kind of lean out,
Mm.
to get slimmer, to have more muscle definition. Most women think of it as toning, but this is like toning times 10 for the stage.
Okay, not just your typical let me do these bicep curls and
No,
mhm.
no, 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 no. But yes, I went through a whole journey of putting on weight, went through a whole journey of defining and taking off, the body fat. So I've experienced both ends of the spectrum, putting on, taking off, and then maintaining. So I've kind of
Okay.
done it all.
Well,
Yeah.
so you would say that was so was it like a year that where after you first started where you were in your first competition or public show?
Yeah, so started that prep that November 2014. First show was August of the following year. So
Okay,
between
so
yeah, so between
mhm.
August of 2015 and November of 2017, I competed in 10 different shows, um, won different placings, had my pro card, which is a status that you get for being a top, I guess, competitor in an organization. So I did get my pro card.
You see
It was
how
just
she just threw that in there like, I guess it's like, you're just a top, competitor. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, it's one of the things that you get in different organizations. So
Mhm.
did that, but the one thing that I personally got from my fitness journey was the confidence. So even before I found fitness, like I was super shy, like
Mhm.
I wasn't the person that I am today.
Okay.
But through fitness, um building my confidence in the gym, building my confidence on the stage, because you have to be on a stage and basically a bedazzled bikini in front of hundreds of people flexing. So
Who are
like,
picking you apart like, "Oh,
right,
her."
exactly. Exactly, exactly. So that whole entire journey just kind of built my confidence, yes, with my physical appearance, but also like how I engage with other people, how I walked into rooms, how I carried myself in my business. So it's just a complete like 180. So through that journey, I really learned there is a transformative power that fitness does have.
Mm.
Um, and that's, the reason I started Impact Fitness was to allow other women the opportunity to experience that level of transformation for their confidence as well.
Yeah, yeah. I love that because I think a lot of times we'll tend to think about it as the goal as a number on a scale or just
Mhm.
something very like this amount of fat or whatever,
Yeah.
BMI. But it was so much more that it doesn't sound like that was your goal is to say, let me go to the gym so I can walk in rooms more confident. You were like, let me just go to the gym and get fit. But then it became so much more than that.
it became so much more. I think, my why has evolved and changed. So yeah, when I first started, yeah, I wanted to look good. Of course, I was
Mhm.
skinny mini, so we all want the flat tummy, the round glutes, like all the things. I
Uh-huh.
wanted all the things. But, as we mature in our fitness journey, that why changes. So like now my why is to be able to live a longer and healthier life. Be able to move in my older age without the aches and pains. So just it changes and evolves the more mature that you become in your fitness journey. So yes,
Mhm.
the why in the beginning was the physical aspect, which I think most people start it off as in a sense, but
Mhm.
you also have to find like your deeper reason of starting in why you're going to keep sustaining in that journey as well.
I can imagine that because you talked about that consistency. And if you don't have a deep why, like it's so easy. I hear so many people like, well, I didn't feel like it. And I'm like, if you wait to get motivated or feel motivated, I don't know if you'll ever get started.
You're never gonna get started. I was just I talked to one of my clients. We had a live not too long ago. We talked about motivation versus discipline. Like people are just like, "Oh, I'm not motivated to go to the gym. Like I need motivation." Like you don't need motivation. You need discipline. Like you got to think as Sia said, you have to think of motivation as your flaky best friend, right?
Mm.
So let's say that you're planning on going to brunch on Sunday, like you're picking out the outfit, you're planning, what restaurant you're going to go to, like you're looking at the menu all week, like you're getting ready, right? And then Sunday rolls around and that best friend is just like, you know what? It's cold outside. Can you take a
Uh-huh.
reset? Like that's your motivation. Like you cannot rely on that. So the habits that you're forming on a consistent basis is going to be that discipline that's going to keep you going and keeping you accountable and showing up. So motivation is a flaky best friend. Don't even
Okay,
worry.
great. And I think everybody can relate to that, right? Flaky in that it's not even in an emergency. It's just like, oh, I changed my mind. And that's how
Yes.
motivation will be.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, your story is that you were, as you said, a skinny mini. uh,
Mhm.
wanted to bulk up. So, what do you say? A lot of women have or feel they have the opposite problem. They're
Yeah.
like, girl, if I could be a skinny mini and have to bulk up, if that, I love those problems, right? But what do
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
I imagine you work with a diverse clientele. And what do you say to women who are like, I'm on the way other end of the spectrum. I want to get rid of this excess weight or fat or whatever.
Mhm. So I would say, I mean, the same principles that got me to put on, my size is literally going to be the same principle that's going to help, other women lose, the body fat that they're are looking to do. Like you still have to move, you still have to work out, you still have to eat right. Like all of those things are still the same. Just and the the level and the amounts of yes the exercise and the nutrition and things like that are going to
Mhm,
vary depending on what you're looking to do, but the principles, all of that is still the same,
mhm.
the exact same.
So you tailor it. So you look at, for example, if a woman is like, I want, my body to look a certain way. I need to lose a certain amount of weight. That's part of obviously it looking a certain way. How do you start out with them? Is it that you look at the number of pounds they want to lose, or you look at the body shape and work towards that? Like, what are the steps to getting them to their goal?
Yes, so we kind of want to look at their body composition. So like their height, their weight, how much body fat are they actually carrying versus how much lean muscle that they're actually carrying.
Mhm.
What are their goals? First and foremost, the goals have to be realistic. So like I can't have a client come to me and say, "Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds by my birthday." And I'm like, "Okay, girl, when's your birthday?"
Next
They're like,
year, right?
I would love for them to say, like, next year, but they'd be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, next month, in, like, 2 weeks or 3 weeks." I'm just like, "You do not need me, you need a miracle, and that's not gonna happen." That's not gonna happen,
Uh-huh.
at least on a healthy scale. Um, So first we have to figure out what that realistic goal is going to be, and we're just going to be setting different milestones to hit to reach that goal. So yes, we're looking at number one is definitely going to be your nutrition, because it doesn't matter how hard you're working out, how much you're working out, like none of that matters if your nutrition isn't even in
Mhm.
order.
Mhm.
um, so we're looking at that. I also have a registered dietitian on my team, so my clients do have the opportunity to do individual consults with them, um, to really tailor the nutrition to them and their goals and their current body composition. So it's always going to be changing as a client starts to move and make progress towards their goals. Those things are always going to be changing. We're also looking at, as far as like their workout plan, how many days can we actually realistically
Mhm.
commit to working out, right?
So you must be used to people having these big unrealistic goals and
Yeah,
setting themselves up for like, well, I didn't reach my goal.
yeah. And I think we need to set them on a realistic basis, because disappointment only comes with expectation. So if we're expecting to meet these lofty, unrealistic goals in a
Mhm.
short time frame, we're going to be disappointed. Being disappointed, you're not going to be you're it's going to be more you're going to be more likely to stop.
Mhm.
We're starting again in January, right? So having the realistic goals so we're able to celebrate those small wins is going to be more helpful when it comes to
Uh-huh.
to a plan,
Yes, yes.
right?
That's probably
um
you build that motive. That's when you start your best friend motivation starts coming back around when you know how
yeah,
flaky friends are once they see you start winning.
exactly. You get it.
They start coming around. Oh, okay, girl, let's try next Sunday. And they get all excited.
Exactly, and we celebrate, and celebrate those small wins. So if we're
Mhm.
able to celebrate along the journey, it becomes more enjoyable. We're able to sustain it longer. Like a lot of different things come with properly setting realistic goals, which is going to be
Mhm.
the base of that too.
Yeah, yeah. So do you recommend like all most of your clients incorporates weight training into
Ab-
their routine?
Absolutely. First
Mhm.
and foremost, weight training is going to trump any and everything. And even most of my all of my clients right now are women.
Okay.
Um, Women especially, we need to weight train. I don't
Mhm.
care what you heard the fitness influencers say, like you need to weight train,
Uh-huh.
especially women um, in their mid 30s and above, getting into the perimenopausal, menopausal phases, like
Mhm.
that has to be priority. A lot of hormonal changes happens in the body. A lot of risk of different diseases as we get older if we are not weight training to maintain that lean muscle. So that could be a whole nother podcast. But
So the goal is like we need lean muscle, right? I want the women to hear this. So you're saying we want as much or more or there's a certain amount of lean muscle. That's the good thing that we want, right?
is the good thing that you want. That is the good thing that you want, because once we hit the age of 30,
Mhm.
every decade on average, we as women are losing anywhere between 3 and 8% of our muscle mass every year,
Oof.
every
Lord
decade.
have mm, mm,
If we're
mm,
losing
mm.
that results in things like osteoporosis, like when we get older,
Mhm.
and as we get into the perimenopausal menopause phase, like our estrogen levels and things like that changes, which is why the hormonal changes happen. But having that muscle mass and having that lean muscle on your body is just going to help through those other phases of life. And we get that by weight training. Cardio is not going to do it. Different hit routines are not going to do it.
Okay.
Picking
HIIT, which is high intensity interval
Mhm.
training. So where you
Yep.
do something really so that's good, but that's not going to do the muscle mass that you're talking about.
Right, and hit
Okay.
is gonna be in moderation, very,
Okay.
very, very much moderation. So, I always recommend, women, and my clients, weight training first and foremost. That is gonna be the cake. The icing on the cake is just overall movement, just walking.
Uh-huh.
Walking is probably the most underrated exercise
Uh-huh.
ever. So walking is literally just like the icing on the cake. Your hit training could be like a little bit of sprinkles because you're going to sprinkle it here and there. You don't want to
Okay.
overdo it. That's
So like
literally,
once or twice a week, or it depends on the person.
yeah, I wouldn't even say
Hmm.
more than twice, once a week.
Okay.
Weight training, minimum of 3, 4 would be optimal. And just daily movement of some
Okay.
sort.
Okay.
Mhm.
That sounds, listen, ladies, that is so doable, right? So you're not talking about everybody has to be up at 5 a.m. in the gym doing an hour on the treadmill and, you know, all of this stuff. Like, because that
Mm,
is that's where I think people get discouraged. They're like,
yes,
I'm too
like,
busy, I can't do it.
yeah, nobody wants to be at listen, my clients wanna train at 5 a.m. Okay, I'll get up and go, but I don't even train at 5 a.m. myself, okay?
Uh-huh.
So, let's start there, but, like I mentioned, I feel like, the biggest misconception is people think that there need to be these big changes in order to see the big results, but just
Hmm.
small things. So and I think we need to switch our focus from things that we can't do versus things that we can do. So you may feel like you have to go to the gym 5 days a week. You don't have to. What can you do? Can you do 3 days?
Uh-huh.
Can you work from home, right? Work out from home. What can you do? And start there. And that's always going to be your baseline. People say, oh, I'm too busy. Like, we're all busy, but
Yeah. Who's
you're
not?
we're all busy. But
Hmm.
if you can squeeze in 15, 20, 30 minutes to yourself to invest in yourself and your health on a daily basis or even 4 days a week, like something is going to be better than nothing. Start
Yes.
there and you
Yes.
can build from there, you know?
Yes. I love this because these principles is so much of it is a mindset. And with me working with therapy clients and coaching clients, and
Mhm.
especially relationship coaching, when people are in a place in their relationship where they just feel like it's hopeless, things have gotten really bad, and it's just like pick one or two small shifts you can do as far as communication or trying to see your partner's perspective or trying to have a more positive outlook. Like one small thing, and just try to do that as much as you can. That'll be so much better than saying, like, well, until he buys me this, or until like you're waiting for this huge miracle that feels like a miracle versus the things that you can do. So I think that's such a great mindset perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that, especially in the beginning for folks who are like just starting their fitness journey, like
Hmm.
don't feel like you have to change everything at once. Like even my clients that I work with in person or even just online, like their program is built to build on each principle as they progress through their journey. So we're not completely changing their nutrition, completely changing, their workouts and everything all at once. Like it's a gradual and slow build because if you're
Hmm.
doing everything at once, 9 times out of 10, like instead of scaling back, like you're just going to stop. You're just
Okay.
going to stop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what I've seen. And I think that's also happens when new year, new me comes around and we're overzealous with our intentions, or we're going to get up at 5 a.m. like you said, go
Hmm.
to the gym 5 days a week. And that may happen for the first week or two, if you're lucky, 3. But if realistically we can't sustain that, we're trying to go from 0 to 100 really, really,
Uh-huh.
really, like, we're not gonna scale back to be like, "All right, let me just go 2 days a week or 3 days a week." Like, you're going to stop, and then now we have
Mm.
to start again, right? So, again, that's the importance of the small things and building on there because you're gonna be less likely to stop completely if you're starting small and building from there.
Exactly. So, Tanika, tell us, we're saying weight training, weight training. What does that actually mean? What does it look like? Like for your average woman, what does doing weight training 3 to 4 times a week even mean or look like?
Yeah. So weight training, resistance training can be interchangeable. So it can be using some kind of equipment to produce resistance as you're working out. So this could be dumbbells, this could be kettlebells, this could be using the machines at the gym, this could be
Hmm.
using barbells. This could even be using resistance bands at home,
Okay.
something outside of just a body weight exercise. If you're
Mhm.
using some kind of equipment to have resistance as you're doing a movement. Um, so like I said, so things at home easily could be dumbbells, it could be bands. Like you really don't need much at home to get it done.
Okay.
And
So you don't have to get hundreds of dollars of equipment and, oh, I can't start until I buy all this stuff.
no, you could
Mhm.
start if you don't have stuff, right? You can
Mhm.
start if you don't have stuff with body weight things, but you can have a simple at home gym, to be honest, for less than $200 to get
Okay.
started between
Okay.
dumbbells and maybe some sliders. So some minimal equipment, like you can literally get started with that. Um, and yeah, and even just for the busy professional, if you can do 3 days a week, let's even just say 45 minutes, 3 days a week, or even 30 minutes, 4 times a week, that's a great foundation to get started.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but the caveat with that is you actually have to put it in your schedule. Like you have to put it in your schedule. Like, I spoke a couple weeks ago and I asked, pull out your Google calendar.
Uh-huh.
Like your next hair appointment on there. Is your next nail appointment on there,
You
right?
know it is.
Okay. It's on there every 2 weeks, right? But like if all of those other things are on your calendar, like why is your time to invest in your health not on your calendar as well? Like for
Mhm.
me, I know if
Mhm.
it's not on my calendar, it's not getting done.
Yes.
So, that time for yourself should have the same standard.
I'm sure that's probably anyone who's listening or watching, that's probably one of the most transformative tips. Like if you put it on your calendar, I think it sends a message that because when we don't put something down, it's easy to slide out of it like, okay, well, tomorrow. But just putting it on your calendar, I can imagine increases success or like the likelihood of doing it by a huge amount.
Exactly, it does. And even one of my clients, she has it like on her work calendar. So, like, her assistant has access. So they can all see, like, no, don't call me during this time. I don't take meetings, like, nothing. So she actually blocks it out on her calendar. And, everybody else, I guess, in a sense, holds that accountable or holds that space for her. And they know, like, this is her time. Like, don't bother her. Like, even though she's only trained with me for an hour, I think her block is like for 2 hours, just so
Okay,
she has
okay.
decompress and take her time. So yeah, that space on the calendar is super important.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Mhm.
okay, so you don't need a lot of equipment. Weight training, you can also call it resistance training. You're creating some sort of resistance, which, builds the muscle. So, do you recommend, like, ideally, maybe somebody would be working with someone such as yourself, but if not, could they just go on YouTube? Like, once they get the weights, they're doing a certain number of rotations. Now I'm asking these questions. I started, it would be during COVID. So like 3 years ago, I really started taking weight training. Now I wasn't bodybuilding, but weight training really seriously, at a gym I was going to, and I learned so much. But before that, I was of the mindset, I always loved fitness and being fit, but I was of the mindset that it was cardio, cardio, cardio. Like you
Yeah.
start sweating and your heart is racing and you feel like, you know what? I have just done the thing and that's that. So once I started learning about the importance of incorporating weight training, I really saw, my body transforming for the better, especially after two kids. And as you said, getting 35 and up. But so for women who are like, okay, I'm ready to get into this. So they get the weights. If they're not yet at a position where they're working with someone like you, what do they do once they get some of the minimal equipment?
Yeah. So I would say, just to, get started, find um yeah, you can do videos on YouTube. You can
Mhm.
find good workouts
Okay,
on
yeah, you gotta be
like,
discerning.
yeah, but you also, yeah, you definitely have to use your discernment when
Mhm.
you are, researching trainers, not influencers, but
Okay.
trainers
Uh-huh.
actually put. um, get content out there. So
Mhm.
that fitness apps, something that's going to be easy and accessible for them to use is what I would
Okay.
advise for that
Okay.
to get started, right?
Yes.
To get
I'm so
started.
glad you said that, distinguishing influencers from a person who can actually help you, a trainer, and that's in any arena. An influencer's goal is more about themselves. And this shout out to influencers, right?
Yes,
Like I think
yes,
we all have a level of influence if we have a platform. But I think you're so right in that you have to look at what the goal is. And a trainer's goal is to literally get you to your goal
hmm
versus, increasing, purely just increasing their influence for their benefit.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely think credentials matter. I definitely
Mhm.
think experience matters. Social proof matters. Have they been able to make transformations for others outside of
Mm,
themselves?
okay.
Um, so I definitely would advise, to look at those things when you are researching programs or people to follow for those different fitness tips and fitness information.
Okay. Okay. But it kind of sounds like that's great to get started. But when, like, I'm sure when you really got into the bodybuilding, you knew you didn't just go to Google, like, you got with the people who were experts who could actually help you reach that goal.
Yeah, I've always had a coach.
Mhm.
Even after my mom stopped coming, she actually referred me to another online trainer who she actually went to school with. And that was even before I met these girls at the gym. So I've always had a coach. From that point, once I started working with the girls, they had a coach that worked with them. So he worked with me. When I was competing, I also had a prep coach. So I've always had a coach, you know.
Yes.
Um, Even like once I did get certified, like I was still working with my coach
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because I was still, obviously competing at that time. And even like if I were to compete again, maybe sometime, like I would still hire a coach.
Mhm. Mhm.
One thing that I just want to do, yes, I'm coaching for other people, but for me, I already have 10,000 things going on. I just want to follow a plan, show up, do my workout, have somebody else figure out what I need to do. And I
Yes.
like less on my plate, just tell me what I need to do. Right. So the having a coach, if that's something that you can do or want to do, is definitely invaluable. Uh,
Mhm.
for sure, for sure. Because yes, you can get the workouts and things like online, but there's a lot of other things that are going to be personalized, like your
Yeah.
form, your
Uh-huh.
anatomy might not be aligned with the trainer that you are looking at online. So, like your squat
Mm.
is different, and it should look different because your
You
body
have a
anatomy.
different body. Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things that you gotta keep in mind, when you are following these programs, which is great, obviously to get started, but to make sure that you're having the personalized, attention, for your body. Yes, because the weight training is one thing, the cardio is one thing,
Mhm.
but then there's also you have to incorporate flexibility and then the
Mm.
ever forgotten mobility training, which is
So
gonna be
does
for your.
that include stretching, and what would be the mobility training?
Yeah, so your stretching is gonna be, like, for your muscles,
Uh-huh.
elasticity in your muscles, but your mobility is going to be for your joint health.
Ooh.
Not I do not hear a lot of, trainers, talk about mobility training enough.
Okay.
Mobility is going to be super important as we age. So,
So
yes, the
those
weight training,
hips and knees and all that.
hips, the knees, the back, it's just gonna be how your joints move like butter, right?
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
stretching is gonna be how tight those muscles are. They could be, like, restrictive. So, yes, the weight training and cardio is gonna be, like, the top 2 things that, we all talk about, but we cannot forget the importance of stretching and mobility to maintain our movement in a healthy
Mm.
way for the rest of our
Uh-huh.
life.
Uh-huh. Wow, I'm so glad you said that because I think if we get too focused on the outer part, like, okay, I want this weight and this, body composition, we could forget about the importance of those things, especially as we get older, as we mature, as I like to call it.
Yes, sure. There you go.
Yeah. So what are some, I love also the thing about having a coach, because I think especially a lot of high achieving women are
Mm,
so used to being competent in everything, and they can figure things out, they can do the research and all like that. And I think that sometimes that's a hindrance, because it's almost like they will see getting help as a weakness, and
mm,
or feel like, well, I can do that, like all they're doing is sitting there, telling me 1 2 3, not recognizing the the power of having somebody else as your guide. And like, you are an expert in this, and you have a coach. And I always
mhm.
tell all the people I work with, I have had so many coaches and my own therapist, and been in programs, still in programs. Like, I always want to be able to be the student or the one receiving the help and guidance, no matter what level I get to.
Absolutely. And I feel like coaches need coaches. Coaches
Mhm.
have coaches. Like one of my clients is a coach, right? And she has
Uh-huh.
coaches for everything else in in her life. So yeah, I feel like yes, high achieving women, like we need that because we're making decisions all day.
Mhm.
Like, have you heard of decision fatigue? Right?
Yes.
We're making decisions all day. Who wants to decide, what am I eating today? How much am I
Mhm.
eating? I'm going to the gym. What am I gonna do? What am I training? How many reps and sets? Like that just takes one less thing off of your plate for you to worry about. And all you have to do is literally just show up and
Uh-huh.
follow the plan. Like your workouts are already decided for you.
Mhm.
How you're eating is kind of, already in a sense, decided for you. So it's one less thing you have to worry about when you have to run a business or lead a team or whatever the case is. The goal is taking less off of your plate so that you are able to, excel and you're able to kind of take off that cape of like I have to
Superwoman.
right, like right because like you could, train yourself, but are you actually going to take the time to learn everything you need to know? I mean,
Mhm.
you could, manage obviously your finances and advise yourself on a financial advisory type of situation, but are you going to take the time to learn the things, right?
Yes,
We
yes.
get people in these positions in our lives because they are the experts to guide us. So that's one less thing we have to spend time learning and implementing. We just find a trusted expert,
And
follow
let
the
them do it. Yes. Use your discernment, use your high achievement to pick the right person, and then let
exact,
them do the work. Yes. And
so that you
ladies,
can be
huh?
I said yes, you so that you can grow higher and be higher, right?
Yeah, yeah, because you really get confined. And I'm all about also helping women to be more in a place of ease. And I
Mm,
think we don't take account of that mental fatigue from the decision, being the burden of making small, and whose doctor's appointment, and my kids this, or my parent this, or my sister. And it can be exhausting. So to the
mm,
degree that we can get other people, I think you're right. Some of the most successful people have a team, whether it's coaches, therapists, advisors, other guides, other experts that are helping them, and they're not just trying to do it on their own.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. What are some misconceptions about the nutrition part?
First
Just
first
pick
off,
your
we
top
all
3.
listen, first off, we all know the whole carbs make you fat thing. Like I'm sick of hearing that.
Mhm. Okay.
Throw that phrase away. Carbs do not make you fat. Carbs do not
Okay.
make you gain weight. Eating more calories in general than your body is burning makes you gain weight. If you're eating more than you're burning, you're gaining weight. If you're eating less than you're burning, you're going to lose weight, right? To a
So
certain
it's
to a
like
certain
a 1 + 1 = 2, or 2 minus,
it's that
like, it's
simple.
very simple, huh?
It's that simple. Like you can eat Twinkies, have a diet full of Twinkies. now don't do this, don't do
Okay.
this, right? But you could, you right, have a diet full of Twinkies, and if the calories in the Twinkies that you're eating is less than the amount of calories your body is burning, like you're gonna lose weight, yes. But what does your body now look like on a diet of Twinkies versus
Mhm.
whole nutritious foods, right? Your body composition is dependent on the type of nutrients that you're feeding it. So yeah, the whole carbs situation um is not true. And I like to
Mm.
use the analogy of building a house, right? This
Mm.
is why you need carbs. You're building a house, right? So you're building a house. You need the bricks, you need the cement like make it stick together, and
Mhm.
you need contractors to do
To
the work.
actually do it. Uh-huh.
Work. So same thing with your body. The bricks could be your nutrition. The carbs could be your cement, and the healthy fats
Mhm.
um, are your contractors. Now, if you're
Mm.
taking off the carbs, now you just have a pile of bricks and you have contractors. How are you going to build a stable house if you just have those two? If
Okay.
you're cutting out healthy fats, now you don't have contractors, right? Now you
Uh-huh.
have the bricks and you have cement. Who's going to put it together if you cut out the contractors, right? Your proteins, your carbs, and your fat, they all have their role in our body functions and the makeup of our body. So we all
Mhm.
need them in different amounts, of course, depending on the
Yes.
person, body composition, but we need all three. So that leads to the second misconception is
Right.
in order to lose weight, you have to cut carbs, which is
Uh-huh.
not true.
Okay.
Um, the third, um, what would be the third?
What do
Hmm.
people not understand about protein? Or what's like what do they need to know about protein?
That is going to be the most critical macronutrient when it comes to building and maintaining your lean muscle. So yes, ladies, we need to eat our protein.
Uh-huh.
Um, on average, most of us are not eating what we should on a daily basis, and of course, that's gonna depend on your body composition, how much you weigh, things like that. But my simple rule of thumb to help women reach their protein goals or at least increase it is 30 grams of protein per meal 3 times a day to just start.
Yeah, yeah.
30
And
grams,
that
just
kind
a
of tracks, yes, because I remember my trainer, she wanted me to start with 114 grams per day. Like that was what she wanted me to get to. She was like, I don't care if you need to get slices of like, turkey breast meat, get a drumstick. Like she's like, when I haven't hit my thing at night, I'll eat my drumstick just to get
there you
that
go.
protein.
There you go. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the weight training, and especially into the menopause phases, like
Mm,
that nutrient protein is going to be very, very, very important.
okay, okay. All right, ladies. So let's stop. What I'm hearing is like, let's stop making carbs the villain. Like
Yeah.
somehow carbs have become the villain of why we might be overweight or not at our ideal body composition. And that's
Mhm.
not the case.
Not at all, because I love
Mhm.
me I love some carbs, okay? It will never be cut, ever.
So do you suggest people have cheat days, quote unquote, or like throughout the day allow themselves a cheat snack day? Like how do you help people balance out sort of the healthier aspects with the fact that we all like to indulge here and there?
I'm so glad you asked that because we don't do cheat days. We don't do
Okay.
cheat days here, right? We don't do cheat days. Because cheat days will make it easier for you to so let's say like let's just say like Sunday through Friday, like you're doing good, you're in your calorie deficit, like all the things that you should be doing.
Mhm.
And then let's say Saturday comes and Saturday is your cheat day. And all day you just cheating. You cheating here, you cheating there, you just cheater,
Pizza,
right?
Twinkies,
Right.
all the
All the day
things.
you're cheating all day, right? All the work that you've done that week in a deficit, and now on Saturday you're here. So that week you probably didn't even make any progress once it kind of balances
Mm.
everything out because you didn't spend the whole day just like doing whatever you want, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I wouldn't like say like right away start including cheat anything, right?
Mhm.
Let's start making some changes first, okay? Let's start making
Okay,
some,
okay.
like, I think ideally we want to get to a place where yes, we can indulge and enjoy our favorite foods, but at least 80% of the foods that you are eating should come from whole nutritious foods.
Mhm.
The other 20%, yeah, go ahead, have, that Snickers or that crumble cookie or insomnia cookie. I'm just personally speaking for myself, right?
Okay, you sound like
Right?
my daughters.
Those
They
are
love
my
those insomnia.
things,
Yeah.
right? But if you could stick to a solid 80-20 balance within your diet, still keeping your movement where it should be, your training where it should be, your water intake where it should be. Like one slice of cake at a party or whatever else isn't going to, like Thanksgiving isn't going to
Uh-huh.
like measure your whole progress, because that's one meal, right?
Mhm.
And there's leftovers, we won't talk about that,
Yeah.
but that's one meal,
Yes.
right? But yes, you definitely still can hit your fitness goals while enjoying the foods that you love.
I think that is a beautiful sentiment because I think when we deprive ourselves, we do that ping pong. We deprive
Mhm.
ourselves and it's like we can't take it anymore. And then we just go all out
Heaven.
binging.
Mhm.
We can't stop. Yeah, yeah.
So if we can still indulge every now and then when we do
Hmm.
have that chance to eat, we're not eating like we ain't gonna cheat anymore, right? We're
Okay,
eating,
yes.
I'm enjoying this, I'll get a chance to have it again, whatever, whatever. Right. So just like you said, if you don't want to binge when you actually have the opportunity to have that cheat. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
moderation is going to help with um that control as well.
So the language needs to change. I always try to put things in relationship language too. So I'm like, okay, that's like you just got married and you're like, well, when can I cheat?
Right.
Like, do I
Like,
get that one time that I get to?
or you just said I do. So now you say you don't, right? You
Yeah, that is so true. We're afraid sometimes of the commitment, and I think committing to a healthy lifestyle can feel very scary because it's like, wait, can I really do? Am I really ready? To tie the knot to a healthy lifestyle like this?
It definitely can feel like that, but then also, that's where you have to dig deeper and figure out what your why is.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Motivational why, but the why that's going to help you create those habits to keep you, you know, in that level of sustainability.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, Tanika, these were such gems. Do you have, and I want to make sure we let people know how to follow you, keep in touch with you, what you have, how they can connect with you. But do you have any, like, what's one final gem that you want women to take away as far as their health, their wellness, and their fitness?
Yes, one gem is that, we always say that we can't pour from an empty cup. Like that's the thing that we always
Hmm.
hear, that's the thing. But what
Hmm.
I always say is, if you are trying to grow a plant, right? You have to make sure you have the right sunlight, you have to
Mm.
water it, you have to do the plant food, like you have to make sure it's in good soil, right? You have to take care of that plant in order for it to grow and thrive. The same way that you take care of that plant is the same way that you need to take care of yourself so that you are
Mm.
grow and thrive. Yes, in your health, but also in your business, in your career, in your relationships. I promise you, the more that you nurture and water and take care of yourself, that is going to spill over in other aspects of your life.
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
you as the plant, make sure you are being watered, you are being fed, you are given the proper sunlight. All the things to make a plant grow are all the things that you need to make sure that you are doing to and for yourself so that
mm.
you as well.
Yes. So let's forget about this whole cup thing because that is an incomplete picture. We're not cups, we're plants, we're living beings. I love that. So we need to provide all of those things that, like you said, the different elements, the sunlight, the air, the soil. and
Yeah.
nurture ourselves in that way.
Hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. Yes. And ladies, let me tell you, the more you feel confident in your just in your body, that is going to come out in your relationship, right? If you're in a relationship or if you're looking for a relationship, it's a type of aura that's just very attractive.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are listening and you can't see, Tynika is beautiful. She's glowing, and I
You.
only see you from like the chest up, but I just
Yeah.
know, like, I could just tell how you look just from the aura. So,
Thank
tell people
you.
how they can reach you. How can they follow you? Is there any program that you have that they can connect with?
Yes, absolutely. So, definitely on LinkedIn for sure, which is Tynika Pack,
Mhm.
Tyneka, Pack, Pack. Instagram as well. You can connect with me on my personal page, which is T Denise. So that's T as in time, DENIISE. You can also connect with us on Impact Fitness at IMPACKT_fitness on Instagram. Um, One of the easiest ways to work with me, as we spoke about, as far as having access to workouts that you can do any and everywhere, I
Mhm.
do have a HerFlex membership program, which
Mm,
is on my mobile app platform, which gives you access to on demand workouts. Yes, your weight training, yes, your cardio routines, but also your stretch and mobility routines. So you have
I'm joining.
an entire library there.
Hmm.
Um, that you can do less, yes, at home or at the gym,
Hmm.
which also gives you access to a recipe library. So different healthy recipes you can cook at home for yourself and your family. This also gives you access to our nutrition group chat, which is administered by our registered dietitian. So you have access to ask general questions there. You'll have access to me, as well as our monthly wellness master classes, which we talk about different topics from habit creation to stress management to sleep health. So you'll have access to all of that on our app and our platform.
Beautiful. All of that is going to be in the show notes so that you can connect. And I know I'm going to be joining. That sounds absolutely fabulous. I don't think you can ever have too much community and too much support around the things that you want for yourself. Tanika, thank you so much. I am sure that our listeners and viewers have learned so much. I know that each time I get in an interview like this, I just learn more and more and more. So
For
I
sure.
look forward to staying in connection with you.
Yes.
Remember, everybody, you deserve a soft life. You deserve to enjoy life. And part of that is your health and your well being and your fitness. So you deserve to invest in yourself in those areas. I will see you in the next episode. And don't forget, if you're interested in my community, the Boundaries to Bliss Inner Circle, where we help women to become their best selves, tap into their feminine energy and healthy boundaries, and have fulfilling relationships, I will put the link in the show notes. Until next time, I'm Dr. Nicole. Take care.